This woman, who is just 20 years old, is living a life full of misery. She is disabled and walks with a lot of difficulty because of her stiff leg. She asked to be anonymous and is currently undergoing physiotherapy at Mulago Hospital. The young lady is not only crippled, but also has scars of acid burns on the front part of her body, from the neck down to her thighs. She got the scars after her ex-husband threw acid at her about 1.5 years ago. Her troubles began at the age of 16 after the death of both her parents. She was left in the hands of a relative who she claims mistreated her, forcing her to become a casual worker, running errands for people for pay. While living this life, she met with a man in Hoima who offered her a job of a house help. As time went on, she had an affair with her new employer and eventually became his housewife. She, however, says her husband mistreated her since they started living together. They have a child.
He used
to say I was uneducated and he could not have a wife who is not learned. One day he chased me and my child out of the house. We slept on the veranda. People pleaded with me to leave, but I refused.
The mother of one says she endured all torment because she had nowhere to run to and no money to fend for her child. She stuck by her man who failed to reform.
He finally threw me out of his home. I came to Arua Park, where I used to sleep on the veranda with the child. We used to cover ourselves with boxes. Whenever it rained, it poured on us.
She eventually got fed up of the tough life on the streets she experienced with her child and decided to go back to her man to ask for help. She claims the man had called for her asking to see his child, but upon arrival at his house, he threw acid at her.
He was inside when I entered. He poured something. I only saw fire on my chest. He burnt me.
She was taken to hospital in Hoima, where she spent a full year nursing her burns. Her husband was arrested while she was in hospital, but later released at her request.
I refused because I was in the hospital, and I felt was the one to help me and my child.
She was all by herself the entire year she spent in hospital, constantly lying on her back due to the intense pain she heard. The young lady complained of severe backache by the time she got discharged. As the backache persisted, she started feeling pain in her left leg, which became so stiff that until now it can hardly be separated from the other. The unfortunate mother is now being attended to at the spinal ward at Mulago Hospital, where she's since spent 5 months.
She was on the ward alone, and then she told us the time she has been in hospital for over a year and so. And so we tried to find out if she ever got any assistance. We realized that actually he walked scot-free. So we got very concerned. We immediately called our partners, so they're also following up this case.
We found that actually Emily did not have a problem with her back. Her hips were wearing out, the socket of the hip joint.
Doctors have put her on physiotherapy and say she will need an operation despite showing signs of improvement.
At the moment, she will need one hip replaced, but in future, most likely, she will need the other one replaced as well. The best thing is to use a cementless hip. Cementless hips, they are not offered by Mulago Hospital. If you go on the market, you'll buy a cementless hip for about $3,000, probably about 7.5 million shillings.
Gertrude Tumusiime Uwitware, NTV.